We start the show this morning on a sad note, as it is no longer news that the immediate past President Muhammadu Buhari, who died in London yesterday at the age of 82, has passed away. He served as Nigeria's president from 2015 to 2023 and also ruled as the military head of state from 1983 to 1985. And as a nation, 7 days of mourning have been declared with the lowering of the national flag. He will be buried today at his hometown in Daura, that is Katsina State. We, as a station here, we commiserate with his family and the people of Nigeria. That's a key agenda from that of President Buhari was anti-corruption, security, infrastructure, criticisms, that is the human rights concerns, economic management, press freedom, and we also knew his fight on corruption while he was the president of Nigeria. Good morning, viewers, and you're welcome to now streaming our morning program here in Advent Cable Network Nigeria here in the capital city. We'll briefly look into the life of the past president and also some of the trending stories before us. But before that, we'll go into the discussion. We have our newspapers for today. I am Rachel Egunu, your anchor for today, and joining me in the studio this morning is my co-anchor
Somtochikulo Kizo, and it's pleasant to be with you on the set this morning.
Same here. Good morning, Somto. And to do justice to the trending stories before us are the Venerable Joseph Nwaya JP, the Director for Civic and Political Affairs of the Church of Nigeria and the Chaplain to the National Assembly. And also we have Engineer Korede Aketude, the Church of Nigeria, Nigeria Communication Officer. You're both welcome to the program this morning.
Good morning, Rachel.
Good morning.
Well done.
So viewers, you can join the conversation via the numbers showing on the screen or send in your comments through our various social media handles. It's always a pleasure hearing from you. So Somto, is over to you with the papers.
Yeah, thank you, Rachel. And we'll be starting with the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Above the masthead, we have the Nigeria Guide of Editors urges government media to prioritize national security and responsible reporting. This we can find on page 5 on the Vanguard newspaper. And the major story we have on the Vanguard this morning is concerning the death of the former president of Nigeria, President Buhari, who died at 82. Traveled to London, took ill, and Tinubu orders Shetima to bring home Buhari's body from the United Kingdom. And we could also see some dignitaries that have written their tributes, people like Obasanjo, IBB, Jonathan, Atiku, Osibanjo, Akpabio, Obi, and every other governors pay their tributes. This we can find on the Vanguard newspaper. And lastly, what we have on the Vanguard newspaper, it's concerning the Labour Party. Kicks at Abure's faction visits WIKE. This we can find on page 5 on the Vanguard newspaper. And moving on to the next, we have the Punch newspaper this morning, and it's still on the death of the president. But just below that, we have Nigerians' US exports plummet by $527 million amid rising trade tensions. This we can find on page 31 on the Punch newspaper. And lastly, what we have on the Punch this morning is tributes as Awujala of Ijebuland passes at 91. Yes. Oh. And this we can find on page 7 and on page 40 on the Punch newspaper. Thank you, Rachel.
All right, Somto, like we have on the Punch newspaper and the Vanguard newspaper this morning, we also have on the Guardian newspaper tributes, reflections on legacy as Buhari bows out at 82. The man, his legacy, policies, health and controversies. He died. He was born December 17, 1942 and died July 13, 2025. This story can be found on pages 4 and 5. Below the masthead, we have this: 2027 presidency may use courts to scuttle ADC. This is coming from Mark. David Mark is a warning. And on page 29, contractors to shut down FCT roles in protest against indebtedness. Really? And we have all the commissioning has been done. We have the Thanksgiving already. Okay, so I think we'll touch a little on that in the course of our discussion. And Labour Party slams Abure over secret meeting with WIKE reaffirms suspension. And below this picture, we also have mourning as Awujale Oba Adetona passes on at 91. May his soul rest in peace. And opposition laments as APC sweeps Lagos Labour Party polls. This happened on Saturday in Lagos. See details of the story on page 7. And we have this Tinubu article distracting youths from nation building. Okay, story is on page 28 of the Guardian newspaper. And lastly, here on the Guardian newspaper, Anglican bishop decries hardship, says it's adversely affecting churches. That story is on page 7 of the Guardian newspaper. So like we rightly say, as always, get the papers for yourself and get the details of the stories we've just outlined this morning. So the country is in mourning as it stands today. Presently, some delegations like the Vice President and other delegations are in London now to bring back the body of the immediate past president for burial in his hometown today. We know some backlash has been going on. I read from some comments coming in. The deed has been done. He's dead and he's dead. And we know, despite the fact that you can't get 100% from any individual. He has his ups, he has his downs, and as humans we expect more from him. Even while he was in office, one of his fights was about corruption, and did he really fight that corruption? So we want to just talk a little about his life while in office. From 2015 to 2023. I'll start with you, Venerable.
Well, we sympathize with the family of the late President Muhammadu Buhari, who have gone to rest finally. But let me really say my mind.
Okay.
Permit me to say my mind. When you say the nation is mourning, for me it's ceremonial. It's ceremonial.
But this, like we rightly say, you don't talk bad about the dead, at least.
No, leave that now.
Okay.
Leave that now.
Okay.
Any good you do, we live after you. Any bad you do, we also live after you. That is why this is a big lesson for those who are currently in the corridor of power.
We also have the likes of Abdul Salam also sick. We have IBB also sick, and
it's a lesson. It's a lesson to those in the corridor of power that power really ultimately belongs to God and the people. The people who gave it. So when you have opportunity, use it so well that when you leave, your legacy, good legacy, will continue to live on. Let me say this. Yes, you say it's not good to talk about the dead, but that's why I say permit me to air my mind. Yeah. I was just about 13 years old when Buhari became the president, the head of state.
That was 1983.
In this country. What are the things I will remember him for today? As a young man who have now grown to adult. I remember him as somebody, a military man who toppled a democratically elected government. I still remember the deaths the unnecessary deaths that happened during that regime. People were being flogged on the street in the name of war against indiscipline. Except you don't know the military culture. Military is a disciplined organization. It's a military general. So that they were flogging people is nothing new. Trying to make people to fall in line. That is not a big deal. But did the government do better than the one they toppled? That is the big question. True Nigerians, patriotic Nigerians should truly answer. Not the sycophants. Not those who benefited. There are some people who got oil well, got different things. They are free to say anything they want to say, but what are the real masses saying? Did you see the jubilation of even children in the street in the north?
In the north, yeah.
Immediately this news broke. Why were they jubilating? Are they not the one that say Baba in before 2015? Why were they jubilating? Apart from the first, I was very young then, when he governed or ruled the country as a military president, but come to the present, the immediate past administration from 2015, with the change mantra that they brought upon Nigeria. Since 2015 till today, has Nigeria been the same again? What I remember 2015 to is it 2023 for is bloodletting, violence, division in this country, opening the door for enemies of this nation to flock in because of nepotism. What I remember is lopsidedness in governance. He played everything to the very extreme. See, there's a message I saw this morning that really touched my heart. And I want to act along that line because I'm a priest. I got a message that is on the social media right now that the wife said before the husband passed on, he begged that Nigeria should forgive him before they lay him to rest. Yeah. I join those who will say we are forgiving Buhari. Let him go and rest. Yeah. But let the living learn from it. What do you want me to remember his government for? It is during Buhari, cows started roaming in front of Igbo Square and 3 arm zone. Yeah. And vehicles are not allowed to move. No one controlled it. It is during Buhari, AK-47 started flying about in the hand of Fulanis, maiming people, raping women. It is during Buhari, kidnapping for ransom has blown out of proportion in this nation. Now, what do you want me to be mourning for, really? Okay. Now, let me just laugh with it. Do you know the number of people that have died?
We have a
the number of widows and widowers?
Sorry, let's take this.
He lived a very faithful and fruitful life. Because he was a president not once. He did his best. I'm not in a party of condemning people. If you that is condemning somebody now, if you are in that same office, we believe that they would have even done worst. That is how I see it. My contribution is wherever he is, may his soul rest in peace. He lived a fulfilled life. That's my own contribution.
Thank you for your contribution. Everybody is entitled to his opinion
whether Buhari lived a fulfilled life. As an army general, you have already lived a fulfilled life. You have paid your dues, except if you don't know what military career is. Volunteering to join the military, serving to the point he got to the position of military general, at least he made his own sacrifice. But when it comes to leadership, we are talking about leadership, governance. This is one man that had opportunity that many people will never have. I mean, you were president before, and you were as a head of state. You had another opportunity
to right your wrongs.
To right your wrongs.
For 2 terms.
If I read a message that was put by one director of an organization in my platform yesterday, you will weep for this country. Except people who are just at the corner, they don't know what is happening, the enormous damage. The last administration set Nigeria back 50 years back. I'm telling you, it will take Nigeria a very long time to recover. Thank God, even when the present administration came on board, which is still the same government, they even came out to be talking about the kind of government they inherited. You want Nigerians to be rejoicing over that? He had opportunity to correct the errors of the past. What is the legacy left behind now? Is it because the man that is calling in, maybe they never kidnapped his father or his mother, his brother? That's why he's talking that way. He has not paid ransom.
Okay, I guess we have a caller again.
Or maybe Fulani people never enter his farm.
You know, they say one man's meat is another man's poison.
No, we have
a caller. Let's take this caller, please. Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
I want to sincerely appreciate everyone in the studio. On the National Day of Mourning and rejoicing and laughing at the same time, I want to tell you that if the death of Buhari gives you the strength to laugh, you are not wrong. If the death of Buhari gives you the strength to cry, you are not wrong.
Can you imagine that?
Express yourself based on your experience during Buhari's tenure. If you lost a family during Buhari, you won't be here telling me to tell Buhari rest in peace. Rest in what? What peace? Is there peace for any weekend? We should not be romancing around it, trying to make it look like you are wishing the death bad. Anybody, any shape it gives you, express yourself over the death of Buhari. Buhari did not give anybody chance of expression during his tenure. Let us stop doing all this. Enough of all this. The person that just called trying to talk down on the guest in the studio, that person should gather crowds and mourn Buhari. That is him.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for your
thank you for your contribution. Like we rightly said, yeah, everybody is entitled to his own.
Some people benefited.
Yeah, they did.
During Buhari,
the more reason why
we are talking about corruption. During Buhari, in the last administration, was there no corruption? Did corruption not grow in this country? What are we talking about?
All right, Venerable, we hear you loud and clear, and your reasons and your emotions are actually very valid. So coming to Engineer Korede, we still on the matter of the president. Let's not forget the incident that took place at Lekki Toll Gate, where youths were murdered, and a whole lot of it under this.
If any of those youth were from this man's family, will he talk that way?
We understand you, sir. So what's your take on this?
I think, let me first of all say, I'm not here as the spokesperson of the Church of Nigeria, so whatever I'm saying here are personal opinions.
Okay.
And so it shouldn't be termed as what the Church of Nigeria has said due to my position. But let me say, personally, I think Buhari lived a dual life. That's the way I see it. He lived a dual life. That's why these debates are on. I mean, there are people that most or 90% of people will say they were very bad. And there are those who will say, oh, this is good man. 90% will say good man. But I think in terms of Buhari, it's a 50-50 thing. Because I have those who benefited and those who didn't benefit and those who his policies affected and killed. So, for the youth, the NSAS is still there. I saw a video of one of the musicians.
Okay, I think today we're going to have a lot of callers. We have a caller here. Good morning.
I want to thank you for the great work you are doing.
Thank you, sir.
But I just want to say something. I do not think that Buhari should be celebrated or talked about his legacy, because I know fully well, even people in the studio, that when Buhari was in power, that was when the economy started tanking. The economy started tanking. It's tanked. There is nothing happening. There is nothing good to remember in that administration. In fact, I was watching a clip yesterday where it's placed in Daura, where people are rejoicing, young youths are rejoicing. My contribution to this is that I pray that other leaders will learn, knowing fully well that a time like this comes when a person leaves the stage. That's all I can say.
Thank you
Thank
so
you very
much.
much.
Thank you. Please go on.
So let me talk with starting from the youth. The NSAS is still there. People were killed, and it was this president that ordered the killing, because soldiers can't go out to kill without the
He's the commander-in-chief
sending them. So up to today, he killed a lot of youth at Lekki toll gate. For the first time in this country, social media was banned for months. Twitter. I mean, these are things that affect the youth. You have the likes of raiding the judges in the dead of the night under this administration. You have the suspension, the illegal suspension of a CJN under his administration. You had bad economic policy that even this government has acknowledged that it is Buhari that has dipped us into this bad stuff. You have scarcity of cash that killed a lot of elderly people. Where the people could not buy drugs, people could not go to work. You have kidnapping. We were under Jonathan, we were battling with Boko Haram and Co. He came in, the Boko Haram did not end, but added kidnapping to it. Kidnapping became a serious business under his. Then you now talk of the bad FX policy. Buhari met dollar at under 200 naira. It was under him, the thing grew to 700 before this current one. And I hope they learn. Before this current one has now skyrocketed to 1,006. You have press freedom that was not there. A lot of newspaper, TV stations were harassed under his. Human rights was zero under Buhari. So, but let me also say the other part of it is that Buhari was one of those who did a lot of road projects in Nigeria. Rail lines became active under him. Pensioners enjoyed under him. Because I have pensioners, federal pensioners, who have always been grateful for a person like Buhari. They were never held under his government, and this government is currently holding them. The NIN, the BVN, digital economy, foreign engagement.
So it was very good.
It was very good because as of today now, we had Nigerians.
Okay, sorry, we have a call.
I want to tell you people thank you for the program like this. You understand? Then my contribution this morning is that everyone has to learn from the past. What when you be in the system, when they give you power, you start people. So when people will remember you and talk about what that is happening to you. It's a lesson for the other that are leading us now. And when somebody was leading, they will say nobody should talk about the leader. Because when you talk, they will say go and look for him to arrest him. But now, Buhari, that is our former president, is no more a king. But they are saying they are little talk about him in past. He says something, but what I'm trying to tell us now is that the one that they lead us now, let us do something that people will remember them in good not keeping. If you look at what is happening in Jos now, if you look at what is happening in Benue State now, you will cry. What is happening in Niger State now, in Katsina now, you will cry. And they will say they are spending money to solve this insurgency, but nothing solved.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your contribution.
So let me just
thank you, sir.
In just rounding,
round
I think in global stage, he commanded some level of respect, unlike the current government. Don't let me talk about this government.
Okay, we'll not go there
unlike
today.
The current government, under Buhari, at least Buhari was invited to the White House, had a chat with Trump. Now today, Trump does not even want to see who is the current Nigeria president.
He also went to Buckingham Palace.
He was at Buckingham Palace. He had that good carriage and relationship, and that's why you see us having Nigerians holding the top positions in the world. Akinwumi Adesina became the African Development Bank president under Buhari. Okonjo-Iweala became the World Trade Organization chairman. You had Mohammed, the other woman in World Bank too. as the vice president of World Bank. I mean, so he had that good part. But you see, what touches people more are your economic policy, your human rights, the way you allow people to make progress in their personal life, which was not there. Which was not there. It was under him that it became scary to travel by road. Yeah. Everybody started, even if you don't have money to fly, you just have to put your. If you go and come back, you go to church and meet Rebunai and do Thanksgiving.
Okay, I'll still stay with you. Yesterday also we had another sad event about the Awujale of Daytona, who passed on at 91 after serving for as long as 65.
Yes.
65 years.
He got to the throne June 1960. Served for over 60 years, 65 years on the throne. I mean, he's the last of the caliber of kings in the southwest that has served a long time. The former Oni of Ife, Shijuade, the former Alafin of Oyo, Adeyemi, the former Showun of Ogbomoso. I mean, he's the last of those caliber of people that have been in the monarchy in the southwest, and last year he was celebrated his 98th birthday, and fortunately himself and his friend, because he's a very good ally of Buhari, decided to leave this world on the same day.
That is a big coincidence.
And for me, the trouble that our leaders should see, which I will use in summarizing the two, is that and before I get to that, he's somebody who has really fought for the Ijebu people. The Ijebu people are sophisticated people in the Europe. In fact, they were part of those who fought the British in those days. And so they had a very good history in the Ijebu land. And he's one of the kings who has been fighting for Ijebu State. Up to his death, he still told the current president that the only thing he requests from him is an Ijebu State. So hopefully that will be done to remember him. But one thing is this, for me, for Buhari and himself, which I also learned, maybe, I'm not sure, but I also learned maybe he also died abroad, is that our leaders go steal money here and then go and die abroad. And then we use our money to maintain them abroad and still use our money to bring them back home to come and bury. Buhari will be shipped in today to come and be buried in Daura, because they must bury both of them today by 4 p.m. by their Islamic
So can you permit me to just chip in the word there so I don't lose it? Because we're talking about what to remember people for. Now, is it a good thing that you had opportunity
for 8 years
to preside over the affairs of a nation on 2 different occasions, like Buhari did? Then you died in UK, in abroad. You could not live
in a clinic.
You could not live
not a
medical facility of world standard that the president of Nigeria can attend. Now, I've always talked about national security. Do you know the level of exposure we expose ourselves to, or expose our leadership by going for treatment abroad? Anything can go wrong in any hospital. Why is it that the hospital in Nassau Rock cannot function? How many presidents of other nations do they bring to Nigeria there to come and
that's why I said so the monies that should be used for this are being used
the
to
money
shift
to even bring the body back. Can go a long way.
Under him, he was in this London for 3 months, and the country was burning both logistics and medical bills.
And you say we should not talk about the dead.
No one traveled more than Buhari during his
administration. So we must talk about the dead. If the dead did well, we will talk about him. If the dead did not do well, we talk about it. But what people should be emphasizing is the request that the wife has said that we should forgive him. And we are willing to forgive. And the present leaders should learn. Power belongs to God. You were listing the number of people that were sick. These were people who got to the top of a level of governance in Nigeria, they should understand that there is a time to leave the stage.
Sure.
All right, thank you so much.
And just to quickly add to what our guest has said, I can remember clearly when the former President Yaradua died. You could see the nation mourning and crying that they lost a leader. And even till date, we still mourn and wish he's still alive. So just like everyone has said, it's a call to remember and to remind our leaders that one day it could be their turn. What would you be remembered for? Thank you, Rachel.
Yeah, and I've been bombarded with talk from my talk back from Chelsea fan. They were like, okay, yesterday, was it a coincidence?
Very coincidence.
Buhari is dead, and they won.
And they won.
They was the same London yesterday.
Because they were
So away from that, I'll come to you, Venerable, as the Director for Civic and Political Matters, Church of Nigeria Affairs. Lagos had their local government election on Saturday, and the landslide, like APC swept all the seats in Lagos State.
The trend has always been APC swept the ground clean. That is what we are talking about.
Only one ward was won by PDP, and I hear of Igbos in Lagos being relegated from voting that Saturday. A repeat of what happened
in the last gubernatorial election.
Yeah.
And all these things are happening under the government that was led by the man who is being laid to rest today. That is the legacy. Now, even 2015 election, you need to dig into records and really know why Jonathan considered defeat. Why? Because he said his ambition is not worth the blood of any Nigerian.
Yeah.
And if he did not do that, many Nigerians would have died. You remember, is it Buraje or whatever the name is, one prominent APC man from the north, when he came out to say that before 2015, they brought in mercenaries, that if that Jonathan had not handed over, it would have been terrible for Nigeria. Yeah. And the man we are talking about now that people said we should be mourning said if they did not give him power, a bamboo will be soaking blood. Yeah. Do you understand that? If you know 2011, post-election violence, what happened? I was the one that reported to the Church of Nigeria about what happened to Anglicans in particular in the north. Yeah. Just from 7 dioceses alone, we lost over 2 billion of properties burnt, churches burnt under this same man.
So with all this happening, will you blame people, the citizens, if we refuse going out to cast our votes? They will tell you that your votes matter.
There are people that.
For how long will this continue?
There are people that God gives the privilege to command the masses. We are giving grace to command the public. The way they use that command, the way they use that authority, the way they use that influence matters. Whether they use it to make the life of the citizens better or worse. That is the issue. No human being, like the guy was talking about at the beginning. You know, he take a swipe on me that if I'm given the opportunity to be in that office, I will also do what? How did he know? I've been in a level of authority at my own level. I'll be vicar of churches. At least I'll be vicar of more than 20 churches in the Church of Nigeria. If I go there today, they carry me on shoulder. Last, I was in vicar of Pentecost for 4 years, 6 months. I went to a birthday ceremony where I was invited by a member. The whole jubilation, a stranger, a prominent stranger, walked up to me to say, Oga, I need your phone number. I say, what for? He said, when the church members were jubilating, the party was shut down. They went and hugged me, carried my wife, this or that. He now asked the celebrant, who is this man that just came in? He said, now our former vicar, now so that they hail him. If I was a president, that is what will happen. Because I knew what I did there. I was conscious that one day, I say it on the pulpit, I'm vicar today, I will not be vicar tomorrow. So I'm conscious about what I'm doing and the legacy I'm going to leave behind.
All
Go
right.
to Benin, where I worked for many years, for 17 years before coming to Abuja. I'm still more respected in Benin than Abuja today.
All right, before we go on
You
a
see,
short
for
break
me,
now.
I just want to say that people should not give up, because that is what the elites want to happen.
The masses to do.
It's easier for them to rig when people don't go out than when people troop out massively. You see,
To
I
vote,
wish
you know?
I wish Nigerians can come to that time that if all of us move out in mass. You've seen this happen in Kenya and Co. See, when the youths move out, was the military, were they able to do anything?
No.
It is, you see, the power is in the unity of the people. So the moment, this is what they want us to see, this is what they want to achieve. Scare people, manipulate things so that they won't go out to vote, and then they can write whatever they want. So I think it's just to say people should continue to, but in terms of the Lagos one, it's a mess. As far
All
as I'm
right,
concerned.
much has been said already. We'll now take a breather. When we return, we'll go straight into the discussion for today. Please stay tuned.
We thank God for His help, and I start to speak to us, and indeed to the Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion, concerning the issue or the incidents that took place last Sunday in St. James Anglican Church here in Abuja. It stirred up so much comments, and the media had a field day. But we said that we will not be in the haste to answer anybody, because in due time we will say what we should say and give the necessary directives. And as you may know, the Anglican Church is open and welcoming and very ready to worship with others, not only our members, but also with our ecumenical friends. But one thing we will not allow is for the church to be taken for a ride by anybody, ordained or not ordained. No matter their positions in the society, the Anglican Church is known to be very welcoming and work with everybody. And the bishops and archbishops of this church were not happy, because throughout last week we were together in meeting. And apart from the response which had been issued, the bishops deliberated, and we decided to issue a guideline for the Anglican communion in Nigeria. And so what we have issued as memo and guideline is binding throughout this nation. And therefore, we want to reinstate that the Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion remains open to all persons, including politicians and government officials, in both its services and other programs of the Church. In keeping with our calling and our inclusive nature, the Anglican Church must not engage in or promote partisanship. The church must diligently avoid speeches, conduct, or events that may incite division or foster political bias within the body of Christ. Henceforth, the following protocols are to be observed. In case we have politicians or government officials, whether invited or who worship with us as our regular members, there must be a prior discussion with any of our guests of such caliber, who is expected to address the congregation in order to offer appropriate guidance. And we expect all our clergy and bishops to observe this.
Viewers, thank you for staying tuned. If you're just joining us, this is still the now streaming morning live program on ACNNTV. I am Rachel Ebuni, your anchor, and my co-anchor is still with me, Somto Chukwu.
Thank you.
All right, we still have our guests with us in the studio, the Venerable Joseph Unwaya JP, the Director for Civic and Political Affairs of the Church of Nigeria and the Chaplain to the National Assembly, and Engineer Korodi Aketunde, the Church of Nigeria Communication Officer. Thank you for still being with us in the studio. All right, in the past few weeks, there has been an uproar in regards to the visit of the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Mr. Nyesom Wike, to St. James's Anglican Church here in Abuja to clear the air and to set the record straight. Some guidelines and rules have been put in place in this regard. So our guest in the studio will be answering some likable questions our viewers need to answer, would have asked this morning. And I'll start with our communications officer this morning. Like we just watched this video from the primate, he was about to outline some guidelines, and I know you posted this on our various social media and circulated it. So just in a brief, summarize it and just tell us a little bit about the guidelines before we go into some of the unanswered questions.
Okay, thank you, Rachel. I think it's just to also clear, because I've received quite a lot of calls in Saturday morning after releasing the press statement on Friday. Some people tag it, even some newspaper tag it with Wiki, just like you also have tagged it with Wiki. And it's not just about Wiki. Yes, even though what happened at St. James Asokoro on the 6th happens to be the latest of such incident, but these are things that has been happening over and over. And you know, some people even thought maybe that was the reason why the bishops gathered in Enugu. No, the primate couldn't have called such a gathering, which started on Monday immediately after that incident. So it was a planned program already, but coincidentally that happened, and the bishops were not happy with the level at which people were asking them, what is the Anglican Church doing? Initially there was to be a response to what happened at St. James, because quite a lot of people felt that this happened under the nose of the primate. And so if nothing was done, anything that happens in any other diocese, the primate will have no say or be able to say. So that's why this guideline has come, just to guide every of our clergy in various parishes across the Church of Nigeria, that the church is not against any government official, either minister or politician, to come to church, or for anybody to come and worship in church. The church is open to those who are faithful Christians to come and worship, or those who are looking for healing. The way I see church is more or less like an hospital. So everybody comes in there. It's a public space, but it's not everybody that is meant to administer injection into everybody. If you are not a doctor, you can't administer injection or whatever or drugs. So the guideline is just to guide everybody, both the church and the politicians, to say when you are coming, you are not just going to be given the podium to speak or to say anything, because some of our politicians has now made church to be where they go and tackle their opposition. If I'm angry with Rachel, I can just organize a Thanksgiving service just to say I went to Enugu and came back safely. Thanksgiving. Of course, Venerable will not say I should not do Thanksgiving in his church.
No, even if the devil come to do Thanksgiving, it means he want to acknowledge God.
God. So that is the way the church sees it. So because some people have said, must everything be, how can we commission road and go and do Thanksgiving? The man said they did commissioning for 16 days. No life was lost, no crisis. It's a good thing. So, but when people go and make comments against, so that's why the church has said there must be this guideline. And the guidelines is just to say that, number one, is to say that the church remains open to everybody, including politicians and government officials. And number two is that the Anglican Church is keeping to its calling of inclusive nature. It's a church that is inclusive, because inside that same church you have people who are APC, who are PDP, who are ADC, who are Labour Party. Every party is there. And so as a pastor or as a church, we belong to every party. So because inside that church, if you tell everybody to stand up according to their party or according to the party they will prefer, you'll possibly see that 70% of your church members prefers a party, either by relation or by participation. So, and then the church will also be diligent to avoid speeches and conducts or events that may incite division. So now the church has set a protocol. If a politician is coming to church and he will be addressing the church, either as a governor or whatever, the pastor of the church must guide him to let him know that it must be straight speech to the essence of that service of coming. Nothing about castigating your opponent or whatever. So there must be that communication before that. And then guests must be clearly informed that the church is not a platform for promoting partisan views or political propaganda, and that church leaders and officials must refrain from making statements or behaving in any way that could construe as being politically aligned. So we shouldn't hear a pastor saying that this is the best government in town.
Yeah.
This is there has been no government that has done well as this government, and in fact we ensure that you come in as a second term. That is not that's what this guideline is saying, that henceforth pastors are not to do that, or even any church official, including myself. And so that's why I noted it in the beginning, whatever I'm saying concerning so no church official should eulogize or exhort any guests in a manner that brings the church into disrespect, because a lot of people also point to the fact that the vicar of the church did some statements, which is not so where possible, and of course which the primates repeated yesterday. In fact, he didn't use the word where possible. He has said that guests should not be permitted to use the lectern, except you are going to be reading the word of God there or preaching, but that you just want to greet the church, hold the mic and greet the church, not to use the lectern. So that's those are the thing, and the church will continue to play its own role to advise, to pray for each government and government officials so that they can do their best to make the citizens' life better. So this is just a summary of that policy guideline, and it's bound on every church across the Anglican Communion.
Okay, Somto, before you come in, there's this scenario that played out of recent with the Archbishop of Bendel Province during an elder statesman's burial. That is Elder Clark. Yes. And this scenario played out. Some officials, government officials, came in while the sermon was going on, and he stood on. He is in charge at that moment. He had to caution them. He reprimanded them. And I like the fact that he did that to let them know that at this time like this is a crucial time. You don't. They were exchanging pleasantry, and you came late into the church. Okay, I'm directing my question to Venerable here. As a priest, when the minister came in and he was saying whatever it is he was saying, as a priest in charge of the church, was he not supposed to, was he not meant to stop him or reprimand him? The line he was towing.
Are you talking about the incident that happened in Asokoro?
Yes.
Now, don't forget that the priest in question made some little mistakes by over-eulogizing him at the very beginning. Now, as far as I'm concerned, once something good is done, it should be commended. When evil is done, it should be condemned. Look at what Isaiah chapter 5 verse 20 says. It says, woe unto them that call evil good and call good evil, but that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitterness. As a priest, you should be able to commend what is good and condemn what is evil, irrespective of who is involved, whether it's a politician or a neutral person. We need to underline that the priest commended some of the projects that have taken place in FCT. I don't think that was too much. But going beyond that to be talking about the person who appointed him is a visionary, he sees vision, and that is where the eulogy crossed the boundary. Having said that, it will be difficult for somebody who have eulogized a person to that extent
to come back
and say, give me that microphone, you are using my pulpit to play politics. But where maybe would have acted was when the person speaking cast a very serious aspersion on Anglican communion. That is my concern. When the man said, this is why he doesn't want to go to church, because they will always ask for something, especially Anglican communion. Let's dwell on that a little, please. Because people should speak for the Church of God. I'm proud to be an Anglican. Anglican is one of the most disciplined organizations. Anglican is one of the church that I know in Nigeria that does not do ceremony. They don't preach because they want money or because they beg unnecessarily. Now, what the man was saying the vicar made a request concerning the road leading to Zidu village. I want people to know that road is within Amak, the heart of FCT.
And is what something he
thousands of people are in that very road. In the last diocesan board meeting we had in Abuja, I heard somebody make the side comment that if a pregnant woman enter a vehicle to AIA, the person will have miscarriage because of the bad state of the road. That is a road, an earth road within the heart of FCT. Then go and see what the Church of Nigeria have labored to do. It's not the duty of the church to build schools. It's not the duty of the church to build hospital. But as part of our corporate responsibility, the primate, the bishop, and the church has invested so much of the offerings we gather together every Sunday in church. Go to Zidu, the AIA, the Church of Nigeria, has spent over 2 billion in that school inside the bush in the heart of FCT to open up the place. Now, after spending the money, there's no good road to get there. A priest drawing the attention or people have the statutory responsibility to construct road, to provide social amenities should not be condemned. That does not make Anglican a begging church. So if I were in his shoe, at that point where he cast aspersion on Anglican community, I would have taken the microphone to call him to order. No one individual should play the God that is bigger than every other person. No. If the priest has praised your good work, yes, the good work he has done, WIKE have done on road, shows because the previous administration for 8 years before he came never did anything. Nothing to show. So it is easy for what WIKE have done in these 2 years to show. If a priest commend that, fine. Then she should have even respected the priest. Sure. I think there was no need for all those things he was talking about. Ambush. Who ambush who? Senator Mao is my personal friend. I was with him in the National Assembly when he was there. He's a decent human being who will not play pranks on any person. So what is the ambush? Because a priest drew your attention to what's supposed to be your responsibility. The people in Zindu village, are they not bona fide members of FCT? Are they not entitled to good road? Sure. Do you want that school and the over 2 billion invested by Abuja diocese in that school to be wasted? We are finished now. Again, go to Wuye and go and see Betrafa Hospital. What Abuja has spent, the offering. No, people can come out and condemn church. The money the church is getting together, they are applying it back into the society. Look at AGGS, Anglican Girls. It's one of the best schools today in Abuja that Anglican has invested money on. We have invested close to another, almost going to 2 billion on Betrafa Hospital. Is going to be one of the first class hospital in FCT with even a cardiovascular section so that people like the president that died now cannot travel to UK with Nigerian money. So a church that is doing that should not be condemned wholesale by a minister, by a governor, by any politician who is given the privilege to greet the people. Then people will say in the first instance, why do you give microphone to these people to talk? Let me take you people to the Bible, or the people making comment in the social media to the Bible. Romans chapter 13 verse 1 says, let every soul be subject to unto the higher powers, for there is no power but of God. The powers that be are ordained by God. It is on this basis that our church, which is an organized church, give due respect to those in authority. But if that respect is given to you, you abuse it, then should be put on the table of the abuser. If the politician abuse the privilege that the church gave to them to greet the people and to thank God for their life, and what I expect politicians to do when they come to church, they are giving microphone, is to thank the church for the prayers, for the support they are getting, and all that. Not opportunity to condemn your opponent, not opportunity to insult people, insult bishop, insult church. Such people should be called to order.
All right, viewers, you can. Our lines are still open.
And may I conclude with this? Yes, I thank God for the primate and our fathers in the Lord. They have given us guidelines. It will streamline the way priests, which are the main officials, handle these matters to guide against any error. Say, discuss with these people. In fact, for me, majority of them should not be given microphone, because we already know those who are politicians, who are drunkards, who are smokers, who come to church late. Why should you come to church late and they even give you a microphone? Yeah. So, but the guideline is meant to checkmate the excesses of any priest, and to also checkmate the excesses of these politicians. That does not mean tomorrow, if a government is maiming and destroying the country, priests of Most High God should not be able to condemn that evil on the pulpit. Members of the congregation who are members of that party and benefiting from that party should not use it against the priest that, oh, why did you talk about our government? You are not supposed to be partisan. If I want to speak against the government in power, it's not because I'm a member of PTP or I'm a member of Labour Party or I want to join ADC. I'm only speaking as a mouthpiece of God, as an ordained priest who should checkmate evil in the society. Go and look at the prophets of old. They were the conscience of the society. They speak to kings. They condemn people that are not doing well so that society can be better. So if I do that tomorrow, it should not be misinterpreted that I'm being partisan. The church will still speak against evil going on in the society. But I thank the church, because it's an organized church, for coming up at this time to arrest the situation and to put things in check.
Thank you, sir. All right, I have a question and I want to direct this to the Church of Nigeria communicator. Thank you for your clarity and the instruction that have been laid down by the National Church concerning matters like this. But some people believe that the response only came because of the opera. Would the church have acted if Nigerians has not raised an alarm concerning what happened in Asokoro?
Let me say that it is not about the opera, and you can also say it is about the opera, but the major thing was that the House of Bishops met and they were not happy
No,
with what has happened,
because this was not in place earlier. So was it as a result of what happened?
Let me.
Okay, please, can you hold your thought? We have a caller. We have a caller.
Yes.
And we were all prepared to go to Enugu.
Let's take this call. Sorry, please.
Yeah.
More especially the first speaker on this matter of giving politicians the freedom to speak during services. The truth still remains that what the primate said, the order the primate gave, is a stand that everybody should follow. Because the primate is the #1 citizen in the Anglican communion here in Nigeria. I believe that it should not be bent for good or for bad. Because when it comes to the politicians, they are wonderful persons. And there is no way you as a priest or a venerable or a vicar of the station will now say, hey, politician, as you are going there, this is what you should say and this is what you should not say. The moment the mic is given to them, what is inside them is what they will say, just like the Bible said, it is the abundance of the heart the mouth speaks. So let's follow what the primates have said to the letter. No politician should be given the podium in the Anglican communion or any other ministry. I think it will help us as Christians. That's my own contribution. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So let me just let you know. You see, just like Rebo was saying, for me, it's just a coincidence. That incident happened on Sunday. The Church of Nigeria already had a calendar to meet from the 8th to 12th. So it's a coincidence, and it's a very good one, as far as I'm concerned, because it might have even taken a long time, maybe till the standing committee in September, before this policy will come out. Because the church is not a church where orders are just given anyhow. It's so, and to also let you know that this thing has been happening before. If you go online, you will see a memo that was shared in the province of Niger Delta, where some of these things are really even happening. Because this thing, you can trace it to...
It's more from that axis.
Yeah. And that province took almost this same stand to say that henceforth, no politician should be handed a mic. I can give you that document if you want. So it is not about the opera of the... in fact, if you listen to the primate very well in his speech, he said, yes, the social media was every media houses lampooned and so, but that is not the reason why the church reacted.
We understand that is not the reason, but why did it take the church so long to now make it a national? Because this is not just like the communicator said. This is not the first time such incidents has been happening. Yeah. We have heard cases of it happening also in standing committees and different places. Yeah. So why did it take the church so long before this decision has been taken? So it is as a result of the
communicator just told you that, and we both agreed that most of all these inflammatory statements that have been on air, especially of recent in the immediate past few years now, are always from that axis of the country and of the church. And Niger Delta province is the province that covers that place. They have since addressed it. This one is addressed now at the national level.
So it's as a result of what happened.
No.
That is
No, something must prompt something.
Something must
prompt something.
Let me share something with you, which I share with all core members. I stayed in NCCF house in Kogi when I started there. And when I got there, I saw this listed 27 rules and regulations. So what I told someone who was my friend is that I said, now some people cause all these rules.
At different points.
At a different point. I am sure, I'm talking about 14, 15 years ago now. I'm sure if I go back there now, maybe that rule would have reached 50. So every rules you see, every guideline you see, if Jesus was alive today, or if Moses was still alive today, maybe the commandments that we have in the Bible must have passed 10.
Okay.
Even though we know that the 10 encompasses everything. But you see, the way the church runs is that issues create some of these policies. So if an incident happens once, you don't expect the church to now use that one incident to create. You don't create a policy on one.
So with this, now this has ignited.
When things are beginning to happen and it becomes a regular occurrence and it's beginning to target the church, then the church must arise and put something.
Okay. Just a follow-up question.
Yeah.
Just like he said, just like our caller said about bishops coming together, we know that the Anglican Church is a traditional church and gives autonomy to various bishops and various dioceses. So are we, just like you said, this instruction cuts across every diocese?
Because it is the agreement of the House of Bishops.
Okay. Secondly, we did not see in this regulation if there are sanctions that would accompany clergymen or bishops that
make something like sanctions are things that will be deliberated at diocesan synods or diocesan board. In fact, somebody has asked me, what is the sanction that the diocese is giving to the priests that overvalue? And I said, that is an internal arrangement. We wouldn't come online to say this is what they will do to the person. No.
But
the church doesn't operate on social media.
Okay. Can I tell you?
Yes.
In every diocesan constitution, there's a section meant for the discipline of clergy. And one of the offenses is anything that will bring just scandal against the church. I think that section have already covered it.
Okay.
So every diocese has a way of discipline their clergy and church officials.
If you bring scandal against
that is not what a Church of Nigeria will bring
legislate on the game.
Okay, lastly, just there's this question particularly too, because I believe I am an Anglican and some of these questions being asked are just for clarity for our viewers. We realize that whenever it is time for the church, the Anglican Church, to probably raise funds for projects, just like you said, there are other projects, we usually rally around these politicians. Compare it with other new generational churches where they don't even do things like harvest, where they don't even come out to make announcements of the numbers of millions of figures that are being donated to the church. Why is the Anglican Church different? Why is it that when it's time for us to raise funds, these are the same people that we run to for help? I'm directing this question to you, the Venerable.
Now, are you by any means saying that Orthodox churches demand for money more than the new generation
this
churches?
This is something that is I'm speaking based on where I belong. I am not speaking on that because I have seen
I will not allow you to push me to begin to criticize the Church of God. Now, the reason why I say so, I've decided not to be criticizing what is happening in Pentecostal churches, but when I have opportunity to speak to their pastors and all that, I'll be doing my best in that regard, because I know it is the pastor that you can speak to that can bring change to pass, not necessarily coming to be speaking in the social media and condemning the Church of God wholesale. In other places, people are doing what they call simony. You are preaching to extort money from people. You preach a message and say, God say, Somto, go and sell your land and bring it to my feet.
Okay, Venerable, please hold on.
With Anglican Communion and other Orthodox, we never do that.
Very interesting subject we are discussing. I want to first of all appreciate the Church of Nigeria via our primate, the leader of our church, for that guideline. We are saying that it is coincidental, it's not coincidental, and if it is coincidental, Uncle, what happens? Let us even start. If it is coincidental, what happens? Let it be. What happens? We need to put these people and put them to check, all these politicians. We are now talking about Buhari's death. Everybody should know that all creatures are under God. And church should not be used as a platform by which you used to come and castigate people and not. No. We need to put them on church. In fact, the fathers were so lenient to say that they will still speak. To me, they will not speak anything. They will come to their Thanksgiving and go. So it's a very wonderful day. So as we commend Church of Nigeria, our primate and our church fathers, we want to encourage the politicians and all the guests, please, to maintain decorum. No, they will not take it in their own office. How about God? I think respect should be given to God. Thank you very much.
Okay, and let me just say this. You see, you can't compare the Anglican Church and the Pentecostals. They have their way of whining people. I use that, whining people to bring money. The Anglican Church will never whine.
We never do that.
The Anglican Church will tell you this is what we want to do.
This is our project.
And this is
they invite you.
And they invite you to come and make your free will
donation.
Nobody will ask you that you must pay 1 million. You must pay no.
Or say Holy Spirit.
Or say Holy Spirit say
go and
no.
Bring so.
So that is not there. What is always with the Anglican Church is that you say this is what we want to do and this is what we want. Just like he has said now. A big school that is almost of a university standard is lying down in the bush. And the Anglican Church, and the FCT minister came to Thanksgiving, and the vicar said, "Sir, you have been doing well. We have commended you. There is a place that we want to point your attention to." It's as simple as that.
The road to that place.
The vicar did not say, "Come and do the road inside the school."
Inside the school.
It is the road that leads to that community. So when the road is done, it is not going to be named Anglican Church Road.
All right, please, we have a
it is not going to be named AIA Road.
Sorry.
On that question that was asked, why is it that when Anglican Church they are doing fundraising, they run around the corridors of these politicians, and at the end of the day, the politicians in return insult those that are in authority in the God's vineyard. Sincerely, just like the primate came up with that memo that no politicians should be given podium in any Anglican communion, I also think concerning that question, invitation to government house to come and build church or to come and buy a share. Please, let it be looked into by private and other officials that are in the
Thank you so much.
It was great people in the body of Christ.
Thank you so much for you know where
that question
this
was directed to me.
You know yes, I just want to add
I
something.
didn't finish.
Let her add something to you.
Yes, you know when he went to the church, there's this thing he said, and it's annoying, and you also rightly talked about it.
Yes.
That why he doesn't like going to Anglican church is because they beg too much. This must have been.
Have you
this
asked?
must have been
Okay,
occurrence.
let me ask you. Are you aware that for 2 years? That is the first time that I'm the director for political affairs. There is an Anglican who is a baptized and confirmed Anglican. For 2 years as a minister in FCT has not even worshipped in any of our churches.
Okay, please,
now,
let's take
no,
this
let me
call.
not lose my thought.
I just want to correct a little impression of that of endurance. Please, we don't go around chasing this people, please.
That is what I want to speak to.
We don't go around.
Can I finish my line of thought?
If you are asked to come, you are also you are not compelled to come for anything. Even the endurance that he's talking about, if he's celebrating his birthday or whatever, he will also invite people. And not only Anglican Church, please. Now, let's put that straight.
Yes.
So when you're given invitation to do something, it's not by force. That let us get that right. And there are other churches, there are other denominations. Even when there is even when somebody that is not a Christian, maybe is a philanthropist. There's also a way in which he appreciates his or her own God. Let's get that straight. And to the flippancy or the flippant word of the minister, with all due respect to him, that anytime Anglican Church, that is very reckless. coming from him. That is lack of respect to God. I thank God for this guideline. We should be called to order, whoever you are. Tell it that the Anglican Church. What kind of a flippant and reckless speech coming from a person that calls himself minister.
Thank you for clarifying. Okay, as we round off with your thoughts.
Now, talking about flippancy, that is a Christian who have come out to say, I'm a Christian, but I'm not a born-again Christian. I want to stop at that. Now, talking about invitation, do you invite the devil to come and to come to harvest? Is it Muslims you want the Church of God to invite to come for harvest? These same people you call politicians, are they not subscribing members of the church? For instance, you have a minister. Okay, let's use my friend Senator Mao in Asokoro. He's a practicing Christian. He's a member of Asokoro. He was formerly a member of St. Matthew's Baripa before he relocated to where he is now. He's now a member of Asokoro. When he was a senator, if the church is doing harvest, will they not invite him?
But how many times do they come to church that you now have to invite them when you now need? That is the point. If they don't come to church regularly, why then invite them when it's time to raise funds?
Now, let me tell you this. No, there was a time I addressed this. Until you get close to some people, you may not fully understand them. It was when I was appointed as chaplain to the National Assembly, I discovered how some of these high-profile politicians, how busy actually they are. That is the reason why the primate appointed me, said, as chaplain, get close. This is our members. If you leave them completely, they will veer off Christianity and be doing what they're supposed not to do. There should be a priest who is disciplined, who will not go there to be begging them for money, who is prayerful, to be close to them, to admonish them from time to time. It is when I got there, I discovered that, honestly, those at the top rank in politics, they are extremely busy. People are not giving them a single chance to do anything. That is one thing we must acknowledge. If you sit down here, you have never been there in their shoes, you will just condemn them wholesale. We should never forget that the politicians we are talking about, especially those of the Christian extraction, are still members of churches. They are still members of churches. And it's not only Anglican, whether Methodist, whether Presbyterian, whether Roman Catholic Church, all the Orthodox churches, like Anglican, they have these members. They invite them to occasions because they are members, part and parcel of the church. And when they leave the office, they come back to the same church. So you cannot allow them to stray away completely. And for me, I've never seen a bishop who compel a politician to make donation. I've never seen an Anglican priest who compel you invite the person, like as he said, like Betrafa is going on there. What they call a hospital that is being built, first class hospital for that matter, and is being built, that you invite your church member because he's a governor and he's a senator or House of Rep member to come to an occasion where other people, businessmen, will be making their own contribution. They came to make their own contribution. How does that become a sin for the church? See, let's call spade a spade. Majority of our politicians are very reckless in the way they do their thing. Once they get to power, they allow power to get into their head and begin to disregard people, talk anyhow. I think that should be what we should focus on. And that is why I commend the church for bringing this guideline to checkmate them. Even the pastors now know also, now the priests now know that, you cannot just allow somebody to come and be talking anyhow in the church.
Okay,
do you understand?
Now we have less time.
I think let me just round it up to say, you see, the Anglican Church, number one, is scripturally rooted.
Yes.
And is a state church. We must understand that it is a state church. There's no Church of England will be doing something today,
and the Queen then
the states will
not be present.
So let's get that clear. This is the only church that bears the name Church of Nigeria. Before you have the Anglican
yes,
so it's a state church, and so the relationship between the church and the politician, you can't separate it. And that's why guidelines are stated. So, and it is not a church that coerces people to extort money from them. The Anglican Church is endowed with great people. And so you can't have great people, you can't have people with skills, you can't have women of caliber and resources, and you say because you don't, you won't invite them to church.
You don't
invite
want
them
person to talk.
But when they come, it is a matter of now letting them know that when you come, you can greet. This is a state church. You can greet the people, you can speak with them, but you shouldn't turn it to a campaign ground. And that's what the church is saying now. Don't turn the podium or the lectern to a campaign ground to be abusing your opponents or to be talking against the church.
Okay,
and
now I'll still stay with you. Your last word in 20 seconds as we wrap up.
No, it's just to say that, you see, for me, everybody should know that there is an end to everything that begins. Today, Buhari is gone. Tomorrow, all of us will not be here. There are some people there in 1980-something, 1970-something. They are no more. Everybody will come, do their own, and leave. The moment you are not able to lay a good record for yourself, people will talk about you. It is WIKE today. It is Tinubu today. It is Akpabio today. Tomorrow, they will also be by
out of the.
How do we tell their stories? We will all be here to us tell about their stories when they leave.
Okay, so Venerable, please, in 20 seconds.
Well, I commend the church for, especially our fathers in the Lord, the primate in particular, for maintaining the integrity of the church and for the guideline that is set out. And I encourage all our priests to look at that guideline and implement it to the letter. Then for those in the corridor of power, they should learn from the incidents of today. Like as I said, Aisha Buhari, from the message we saw in the internet, has said that before the husband gave up his ghost, he said she should appeal to Nigerians to forgive him. And I think Nigerians should forgive him, even though many damages have been done. But those who are currently in power should know and learn from. You mentioned so many of our prominent leaders who are now frail, they are now sick. Every person will go through that very corridor. And you don't wait till you get to that place and you can no longer correct anything before you start thinking right.
All right, thank you so much, Somto.
Thank you for the time. It's been a wonderful discussion, but my closing words just on the last matter we just discussed, still to appreciate the head of the church, the primate, for such regulations that have been set aside to guide us. And I still want to appeal to us as Christians that we mustn't bring the body to shame just because of what we want to give. And I strongly believe that giving is a principle. You teach giving and people will freely give it. You know, we talked about how busy these people can be. I still believe that Muslims that are still politicians still observes their prayer 5 times a day. So as a politician, as a Christian, if you can make it to church, I believe that something should be questioned about your Christianity.
Thank you, Somto. Venerable, thank you for your contribution and your analysis thus far. And Engineer Korede, thank you so much for coming to the show. Okay. And to our viewers, what will you be remembered for? What will be said about you when you are no more? Regarding the passing on of the immediate past president. And with the incident that transpired 2 weeks ago, I think with whatever has been said today, it should be laid to rest. A lot has been said. The guidelines and should be followed. Both parties should follow the guidelines. So this is the much we can bring to you on the show today. Let's do this again. Same time, same station tomorrow. Have a blessed day and stay safe. I am Rachel Ebunu. Bye for now.